In order to be connected to a network, and thus to the internet, we have a few options. One option is to plug into an Ethernet network. Here in the Settings app, under Network, I can control the settings for my connection to an Ethernet network. I'm already connected. Working in a virtual machine gives me a virtual Ethernet adapter. And I can see that the link speed is 1000 megabits, or 1 gigabit. I'll click the gear here for some more information. On the Details pane, there's a summary of my connections, a gigabit link, and here's my IP address. Well, my IPv4 address. The IPv6 address is down here, and it's not being used right now. Depending on your network, you may have an IPv6 address instead of an IPv4 one, or you could have both active at the same time. The hardware address here is what's often called the MAC address, the nearly unique identifier for a network device. And below that, there's the default route, or gateway, which is the address of the network router that's handling the network traffic for this system. Below that is the listing of the DNS servers the system is using. These are often provided automatically by the router or another service on the network, and they're the servers that the system talks to when it wants to find addresses for web servers and other services. I can choose to connect to this profile automatically and whether to make my connection available to other users on the system. And if I'm in a low bandwidth situation, I can choose to restrict background data usage. What we're looking at in this window is a connection profile. If I click over to the Identity tab, we can see that a little more explicitly. I can create profiles for different networks or just different configurations of the same network. This happens to be called Wired Connection 1, but it could just as easily be named Work or Home or anything else that designates what this group of network settings is called. Here again, I can see the MAC address and the interface designation, and I can change the address of my system if need be. Over in IPv4, I can choose how the system gets its address. It's set to automatic right now, because that's how this virtual network is configured. But you may need to set an address manually, and for that you'd need some specific pieces of information. We can do the same for the IPv6 settings. And security lets you connect to a secured Ethernet network, which can be found in corporate settings sometimes, but is rarely used in a home setting. If I made any changes here, I'd need to click Apply in order for them to take effect. Back here on the main screen, let's take a look at what this shows when I'm disconnected. I'll go in here and unplug the network cable from my virtual machine. And now the status of my connection changes to Cable Unplugged. I'll plug it back in. And now I'm connected again. If you're plugged in and you're still not getting the connected message, double check that your network is configured to provide information automatically, or enter the address information manually and try again. Up here above the wired box, I can use the plus button to add another connection profile. And down below it, I can add settings for a VPN, a virtual private network, or a network proxy. Typically, you'll know if you need to change any of these settings. VPNs and proxies both change how the network traffic is routed, and that's beyond the scope of this course.